Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Kelly Dockrell here with me. She is the founder and owner of Acclaim Recruiters. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, I want to jump in and first, did you grow up in an entrepreneurship household? How did you get into entrepreneurship?
Oh goodness. No, I didn't grow up around any entrepreneurs. I think my grandfather was one, but I have no idea really what he did.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when I became an entrepreneur, people that knew me throughout my career were like, dude, like we were kind of waiting for this to happen because everybody knows that I march to the beat of my own drum. But if I really take it back, so back in 2014, I read a book by Tim Ferriss called The 4 Hour Work Week.
Yeah.
Super relevant at the time. And ironically, even now, 10 years later, still extremely relevant. So my one takeaway from that book was, what's your greatest asset as it relates to your career? And I was like, easy. I'm a networker. I could put two people together for purpose. Done. So at the time, I was living in Miami. I was in the freight industry. I got a job in freight because my parents positioned me to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. So they're like, go away to college and get your degree, and then you'll come out and you'll be in pharmaceutical sales. I don't know how I got the knowledge, but I knew when I was a college student, they weren't hiring people out of college for sales because they didn't have sales experience.
Yeah.
So I went to my FIU University campus and they sent me on like 20 different interviews. So I ended up interviewing for a freight and logistics company. And the owner's like, do you know what a container is? And I was like, no. So sure enough, they ended up hiring me. And then I woke up like 10 years later and I was like, dude, this was supposed to be like a college internship. What am I still doing? And you get caught up in that corporate environment, especially being in your early 20s. Like I was in golden handcuffs. I mean, I'm 22 years old, college student. I'm making like $13,000 commissions checks.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay, I'll do this. So sure enough, 2014, I was really trying to pivot. And I knew back then I was supposed to be a recruiter. But for whatever reason, I decided to take it down a different avenue. And I launched a matchmaking company in Miami, which was fun. It was fun to build the process of the company because I was really just doing it on my own. I ended up not moving forward with that company, obviously, stayed in freight. And then in 2017, still kind of in my head, like I'm at the peak of my career in logistics transportation. I'm a global account executive salesperson within the aviation aerospace vertical, traveling the world, making good money at a 6-figure base salary. Still like, what am I still doing in freight? Like I was early 30s at that time. And even my mom was like, Kelly, you look old. Like it just was aging me. And it's exhausting business. So long story short, what happened in 2017 is I had this really big God-sized awakening. I actually turned on my faith because I guess that was the time for it. And then God spoke to me and he basically told me to quit my job and give away everything I owned and move to Hawaii. So I did just that. I quit my job the next day. And my boss was like, wait a second.
What's happening?
Yeah, what is going on? Kelly's losing it. It was a crazy journey. And I literally just published a book about it because it's a wild, wild journey. So long story short, like I'm in Hawaii working. I ended up getting one of the jobs that was definitely a desire of my heart that I didn't know existed. So back when I was in Hawaii, I ended up landing a gig and I became the #1 DJ MC on the island. And I was hosting like these big, big weddings and events. And like, just a few months prior, I was this corporate, account executive. Now I'm hosting weddings. So I definitely had that transition. And then what happened one night back in 2021 was I couldn't sleep. So I kind of started just meditating, and God just downloaded it into me to start this company, to start Acclaim Recruiters, like blueprint and everything.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to do. This is how you do it. And like 2 days later, I launched the company. Had some pushback from the start in terms of like domains and understanding it, but I hired a business coach. And then in 2022, boom, became profitable and quit my full-time job that I had at the time and been going as a full-time entrepreneur ever since.
I love it. And what, I mean, I wouldn't say complete, but so different going from freight and all this transportation and logistics to, if you think about it, logistics from a recruiting standpoint, like there is some serious mind power that is having to still be done in the recruitment space.
Well, so you know what's funny about that? So I dipped out on my Jesus journey to move to Hawaii
Yeah.
and basically disappeared for a few years. I come back on the scene as this, recruiter within the industry, and sure enough, I outsourced my marketing for my business development. So they had me focus on one vertical and one niche. So of course I went after logistics transportation.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I come back on the scene, and now all of my old contacts within logistics transportation are now my clients.
Yeah.
So it's this crazy full circle moment. And it made me realize, okay, well, you had to put your blood, sweat, and tears into this industry for 13 years and then come out full circle. And the truth is, in the recruiting space, because logistics is so specialized, people trust me. They're like, you've done the job, you've been in the trenches. And that immediately allowed me to stand out against my competitors.
Now, when you were going into this, and first of all, 2021, you started doing this, 2022, making a profit is incredible just to hear, because oftentimes you hear it taking far longer than that for some people.
Here's a secret for anybody that's launching a company. I wanted my company to start with the letter A. So if we're ever in a business journal, or if we're ever, at an award ceremony, or even just on Google SEO, you want to be the first one. So my matchmaking company was called Allure Matchmakers. And then of course I called my mom and I said, I want something that starts with an A. She said, how about acclaimed, like past tense?
Yeah.
And I went with acclaim because mine was more towards like, I acclaim the sovereignty of my God.
Yeah.
So, so that was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I basically went down YouTube University and I found this guy that was just a beast in recruiting. And I reached out to him because I wanted to buy his contracts. And he's like, I won't sell you contracts, but you can come on board in my coaching platform. So that was Wednesday. And then Wednesday, I actually launched the business like full scale, like LLC, hired the coach. And then from there, it was all really learning. You're learning about all these different things that I had no idea on, acquisition and getting clients. And unfortunately, what happened to me was because I knew so little, I ended up burning my domain and got blacklisted immediately, which, I mean, once that happens, you can't get in touch with anybody. You're out of the game. It was Q1 of 2022. And I was like, dude, if I can't make any money off this company, I'm homeless.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So, so I ended up profitable March of 2022. And from there on, and that's what you need. Once you get that first sale, like that's going to build your confidence. And do you know that very first check I have in a frame? And because you never want to forget that. And you want to stay humble. And I'm glad that I wasn't successful from day one, because I wouldn't have been humble about this entire situation.
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurship is, I mean, it's a grind, dude.
Yeah.
You basically wake up every morning unemployed.
Yep.
And times are changing, and it's a grind.
Yep.
But happy I'm doing it.
There you go. Has there been something about the entrepreneurship space that surprised you the most?
I think the cool thing about it is that, you do feel like you're a lone wolf because, a lot of us, especially in the recruiting world, we work from home. But it's interesting how collaborative it is, and the fact that, everybody, we know what we all go through. You've got to be a very specific and special type of person to work in this crazy, arena.
Yeah.
But through it, and as long as you're putting yourself out there and networking, you're going to meet some of the greatest people that for me, I've never met them in person, but they're lifelong friends.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's so funny because people, I think there's so many things that people have these expectations of what entrepreneurship is. You get to create your own schedule, you get to all these things, but I'm like, you are putting, like you were saying, so much blood, sweat, and tears into this. It is not easy thing to start up or even just be able to stay consistent and keep building.
Yeah, and I think that just the term entrepreneur itself is such a fancy term.
Yeah.
And, not so many people get to hold that title because, you could either go through this blood, sweat, and tears and make this money for yourself, or you're going to spend the next 40 years making somebody else money and you don't have that freedom. But what I do have to say is that, look, it's not for everybody. You've got to wear a lot of hats. I've got to be HR, I'm accounting,
Yeah.
I'm sales, I'm business development. I mean, you're everything under the sun. But the coolest thing about it and building a company is you learn so much when you just start connecting from people. Like every day I'm learning something new. So if you're like an avid learner and you don't like the mediocrity or, just kind of a day-to-day sit in a cubicle type of lifestyle, go for it.
Yep.
Jump off the cliff and get crazy.
Was there one of those hats that you truly were like, holy crap, I need someone else to come help me wear this hat or help teach me in this arena?
Yeah, totally. Like, so I was a sales rep for, 15 years outside sales. So I'm a fly by the seat of my kind of girl. Like I hate reports, I hate data. So when it comes to doing things like marketing and creating email drip campaigns and scraping emails and the data and the analytics and the deliverability and the open rate, like I hate that stuff. Send me somebody's phone number that might be interested in using our services. I'll get them on a call and I'll talk to them and close them. So the actual part of having to sit down and look at data to me is daunting, but there's so many people out there that are good at it. So the first year I was managing that internally for like 2022, Q2, Q1, Q2. Q3, I went out there to the marketplace and I was like, all right, let me outsource this. Let me give it to somebody that's good. And then I continually try to pivot that approach every year because as much as I'm like, I could take it internally again, no freaking way. It's spreadsheets and stuff. Ugh.
Was there a mindset shift you had to do at all when you started in the entrepreneurship space that, you had built in you from your 15 years that you were in corporate and in the role you were in?
Yeah, I would say because, here you are with companies that don't truly know you, maybe not have looked at like my LinkedIn or whatever. And, you've been in business for a few months and you have to make it sound as though like you're a lot bigger than what you seem.
Yeah.
And so I think that whole fake it till you make it. And that's why I tell other recruiters starting out, like once you get that first sale and that first check, that's just going to increase your confidence.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, same thing, like it's Q4 of last year in the recruiting space, like it was kind of dead because everybody's like, we're not hiring right now.
Yeah.
And I was telling my husband, I was like, dude, if there's nothing to hunt, then I can't go out and kill and eat.
Yeah.
So probably getting used to that. And even the other thing too is because you're so stuck in the fact that you're a corporate rep that you're so used to like reporting your day to somebody.
Yeah.
But even knowing like, dude, I don't have to answer to anybody. Yeah. And I don't think I really ever have in my career, if I'm being honest. And anybody that I've worked for will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But just kind of knowing that like, oh, taking the day off.
What's next for you in the business? Is there something you are dying to do? Is there things that are upcoming? What's going on in your head in terms of growth?
Yeah, great question. I could tell you I've lived 20 lives. I'll be 40 in a week. And anybody that's known me the past 20 years, they're like, Kelly's always up to something. I've literally done everything under the sun. The fact that I just published my book I think one of my ultimate goals would be like motivational speaking and inspiration for anybody that feels stuck in life. And maybe you feel like you're in golden handcuffs, or just anybody that feels as though they need that push to make the move in order to make
Yeah.
a change. Because if you're waking up and you're like, dude, what am I still doing in this job or this industry? Or if on a Sunday night you get anxiety about going to work on a Monday morning, dude, time to go.
Yeah.
But you have to have the courage to jump. But the other thing too is I'm working on publishing another book,
Okay.
which is going to be a collaboration with a bunch of these top recruiters that I work with, just coming together as a tribe of six-figure recruiters and saying like, this is where I'm at. This is what I did to get there. Here's some advice for anybody starting out.
Yeah.
And that way it's just an easy guide to like these top level recruiters have been doing way longer than I have. So that's, my next project, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear. I think there's so many books that those are the types that I love to read about. It's just a collective of minds coming together, and how do you then change this and go and do all these things that then inspires other people to go and make those changes or to lead them to out of the space that they're in.
Oh, totally. Like I just saw a post with Alex Hermosi yesterday, and he's like, dude, I'm gonna save you like 10 years of crap that like I wish I knew. Like now, like I'm like you don't have to go through it, learn from me. So well, I want everybody to win. I want to see everybody be successful, and I think that everybody can. It's just kind of stepping out there into the unknown, and it's scary. That's the thing too. Entrepreneurship, if you pursue what you really love to do, then like you're just crushing life.
Yeah.
It might not be necessarily like monetary gain, but the freedom involved and just being able to like, look, I own my own company. If I want to talk about Jesus on a sales call, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to tell me not to?
I love it.
Yeah. I'm still hyped up on coffee, by the way. Woo!
Kelly's on it today. She had a night last night.
Too much energy.
Too much pre-workout. Kelly, I can't thank you enough for sitting down and chatting with me today and letting me dive into your mind and everything that you've done in your career and where you are today. I'm so excited to see what stages you end up on and speaking and all of these things. I think it's going to be so exciting.
You freaking never know with me. You never know.
You
But
never-
that's the thing. You got to keep life exciting because monotony will kill you.
Yes. Yep. Totally agree. Kelly, thank you so much again. And you guys, I'm going to have all of Kelly's socials linked down below. Go check her out. Stay in touch with her and keep up with her journey. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.